Did you know that in old age, choosing to stay silent and cutting all contact with certain people can be one of the most liberating decisions you ever make? It's not about anger or resentment, it's about reclaiming your peace, prioritizing your well-being, and making room for the relationships and experiences that truly matter. There comes a time in life when you realize that not everyone deserves access to your thoughts, your emotions, or your presence. Some people drain your energy, disrupt your peace, and bring unnecessary negativity into your life. As an older adult, you've earned the right to walk away, to stop explaining, and to embrace a life free from toxic connections. Here's why and how to do it with wisdom and grace. 1. Why cutting all contact is necessary in old age. There comes a point in life when you must ask yourself, is this relationship adding to my well-being, or is it only taking from me? As we grow older, the answer becomes clearer. Some people, no matter how long they have been in our lives or the history we share, no longer serve a positive role. They bring more pain than peace, more stress than comfort, and more conflict than joy. Holding on to them out of habit, guilt, or obligation only prolongs our suffering. One of the greatest lessons of old age is realizing that not everyone deserves a permanent place in our story. We often spend years, even decades, trying to make things work, giving people second chances, hoping they will change, or believing that if we just try harder, things will be different. But some people remain the same, stuck in patterns of negativity, manipulation, or selfishness. No amount of effort on our part will fix them. At some point, we must accept the truth. Some relationships cannot be saved, and that's okay. Cutting all contact is not an act of cruelty, it is an act of self-preservation. There is no need for dramatic goodbyes or prolonged discussions. In fact, toxic people thrive on emotional reactions. They will guilt-trip, argue, or twist your words to pull you back in. The most powerful response is silence. No explanations, no arguments, just the quiet certainty that you are done. Many older adults hesitate to cut ties because of guilt. They wonder, what if I am being too harsh? What if I regret this later? But the real question is, what if I continue to allow this person to harm my peace? Life is too short to spend your remaining years entangled in relationships that exhaust you. Your energy, health, and emotional well-being matter. You deserve relationships that uplift you, not ones that deplete you. Letting go does not mean you are unkind, it means you are wise enough to recognize what is no longer good for you. It means choosing freedom over obligation, peace over tension, and happiness over history. It is a declaration that you value yourself enough to walk away from those who no longer deserve access to you. And when you do, something remarkable happens. Your world becomes lighter. You no longer carry the weight of forced conversations, unfulfilled expectations, or endless disappointments. You wake up with a sense of calm, knowing that your time and energy are now yours to give to the people and experiences that truly matter. Not everyone is meant to stay in your life forever. Some people are lessons, some are mistakes, and some are simply not meant to continue with you on your journey. In old age, the most important relationship you have is the one with yourself. Cutting all contact with the wrong people is not just necessary, it is an act of deep self-respect. 2. The power of silence. Let your absence speak for itself. Silence is often misunderstood. Many see it as weakness, an inability to speak up, or a surrender to others. But in reality, silence is one of the most powerful responses we can give, especially in old age. It is not about submission, it is about wisdom. It is about knowing when words no longer serve a purpose and when the best answer is no answer at all. There comes a time when arguing, explaining, or justifying ourselves becomes exhausting. Some people will never truly listen, while others only hear what they want to. No matter how clearly you state your feelings, they twist your words, dismiss your pain, or turn the conversation back on you. Engaging with them becomes a cycle that drains you emotionally, mentally, and even physically. The only way to break free is through silence. Walking away without a word is not an act of defeat, it is a declaration of self-respect. It is choosing not to waste your breath on those who refuse to understand. It is refusing to be drawn into meaningless conflict, or emotional manipulation. When you withdraw your attention, you take away their power. You remove the fuel that keeps their negativity alive. Without your reaction, they are left with only themselves, and that is something they must face on their own. Silence also protects your peace. Every time you choose not to engage, you are reclaiming control over your emotions. You are deciding that your happiness is more important than proving a point. You are prioritizing your well-being over temporary satisfaction. There is undeniable strength and restraint in resisting the urge to argue, explain, or justify. Not every battle needs to be fought, and not every relationship deserves a final conversation. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is simply walk away. In old age, we learn that not everything requires closure. We do not need someone's approval to move on. We do not need them to understand our reasons or acknowledge their wrongs. Their reactions, or lack thereof, are not our responsibility. The only thing that matters is that we have chosen what is best for ourselves. Silence does not mean weakness, nor does it mean avoidance. It means we are at peace with our decision. It means we have reached a point in life where we no longer need validation, where we understand that true strength lies in knowing when to disengage. By staying silent and removing ourselves from toxic situations, we allow our absence to speak louder than words ever could. There is power in no longer explaining. There is power in refusing to be pulled into unnecessary battles. There is power in walking away without a sound, knowing that the greatest peace comes not from being right, but from being free. 3. How to cut someone off completely without guilt. Letting go of someone entirely is not just a physical act, it is an emotional and mental process that requires strength, clarity, and self-respect. Many people hesitate to walk away from toxic relationships, not because they want to stay, but because they fear the weight of guilt. We have been conditioned to believe that cutting someone off is cruel, that we owe people endless chances, and that walking away means abandoning our responsibilities. But in reality, there are times when the kindest thing we can do for ourselves, and for them, is to sever the connection completely. The first step in cutting someone off without guilt is accepting that you are not responsible for their emotions, choices, or behavior. People often manipulate through guilt, making you feel as if leaving them is an act of betrayal. They remind you of history, obligations, and the role you have played in their life. But history does not justify mistreatment, and obligation should never come at the cost of your well-being. At some point, you must recognize that your peace is more important than their expectations. When you decide to walk away, do so without explanations. Toxic individuals thrive on discussions because it gives them another opportunity to pull you back in, twist your words, or convince you to stay. They will beg for one last conversation, one final explanation, but in reality, they are not seeking closure, they are seeking control. Engaging with them only prolongs the process and keeps you entangled in a cycle you are trying to escape. The best response is no response. The best closure is your absence. Removing them from your environment is essential. This is not an act of malice, it is an act of self-protection. Block their number if necessary, avoid spaces where they are likely to appear, and do not allow mutual acquaintances to relay their messages to you. Cutting someone off means making a clean break, not leaving a door slightly open for their return. It is not about punishing them, it is about ensuring your healing is not disrupted. Letting go of guilt requires shifting your perspective. Instead of seeing yourself as someone who has abandoned another, see yourself as someone who has chosen self-respect. Instead of feeling guilty for walking away, feel proud that you have set boundaries. Remind yourself that this is not about being unkind, it is about refusing to let another person continue to harm you. Choosing yourself is not selfish. Prioritizing your peace is not wrong. As time passes, you will realize that the weight you carried, the anxiety, the tension, the exhaustion, begins to fade. You will wake up feeling lighter, breathe easier, and find joy in spaces that once felt suffocating. Cutting someone off is never easy, but it is sometimes necessary. And when you finally let go fully, completely, without looking back, you will understand that this was not an ending, but a new beginning. 4. The freedom that comes after cutting someone off. There is a moment after you finally remove someone toxic from your life when the weight you have been carrying for years suddenly lifts. At first, it may feel unfamiliar, as if something is missing. You have spent so much time managing their emotions, walking on eggshells, and anticipating the next conflict that their absence feels strange. But then, slowly, the space they once occupied fills with something else: peace, clarity, relief. And that is when you realize you are free. Freedom does not always come in grand gestures or sudden revelations. Sometimes it comes in the quiet moments, the deep breaths you take in the morning without the burden of dread, the ability to enjoy a peaceful afternoon without the constant pull of someone else's demands, and the simple joy of living without the weight of their negativity pressing down on you. When you cut someone off completely, you are not just removing their presence, you are reclaiming your life. There is a myth that we are meant to endure all relationships, that we must forgive endlessly, and keep doors open no matter how much pain someone brings. But real wisdom comes from knowing when to let go. Some people are not meant to stay in our lives forever. Some people bring nothing but chaos, and keeping them close is like inviting a storm into your home. Cutting them off is not an act of cruelty, it is an act of survival. It is a declaration that you will no longer be held hostage by their words, actions, or expectations. At first, the world may question your decision. People may not understand why you have walked away. They may tell you to reconsider, to give it another chance. But they are not the ones who lived with the exhaustion. They did not feel the constant drain of being around someone who took more than they gave. Only you know the toll it took on you. Only you understand the depth of the relief that silence brings, and that is why only you can decide when enough is enough. True freedom comes when you no longer feel the need to explain your choices. You no longer replay old conversations in your mind, wondering if you should have said something differently. You no longer feel guilty for choosing peace over obligation. Instead, you embrace the silence, the space, the calm that follows when you finally choose yourself. This is your time now, your time to spend with people who bring joy instead of stress, with those who appreciate you rather than take you for granted. Your time to wake up each day with a light heart instead of a heavy one, your time to live fully and unapologetically without the shadows of toxic relationships dimming your happiness. When you finally cut someone off and step into this freedom, you realize something profound: you were never meant to carry their weight forever. And now, without it, you can finally move forward, lighter, stronger, and free. 5. Choosing peace over drama. There comes a point in life when you realize that peace is not something you find, it is something you create. It is a choice, a decision to no longer engage in unnecessary battles or allow toxic people to disrupt your well-being. For many years, you may have tolerated certain relationships, believing that patience and compromise would eventually lead to harmony. But some people thrive on conflict, they feed on drama, manipulate situations, and create chaos wherever they go. If you wait for them to change, you will be waiting forever. Choosing peace means making the difficult but necessary decision to walk away. Drama is exhausting, and in old age, it becomes even clearer how little time and energy should be wasted on it. Arguments that go in circles, relationships built on tension, and connections that leave you feeling drained are no longer worth your attention. There is no reason to engage in conflicts that only serve to unsettle your heart. You do not need to prove yourself to people who refuse to listen, nor do you need to justify your choices to those who do not respect them. There is immense strength in choosing silence over argument, in walking away rather than fighting for something that only brings you pain. Letting go of drama does not mean avoiding all challenges in life. It means recognizing what is worth your energy, and what is not. Some battles are necessary: protecting your health, standing up for your dignity, and maintaining relationships that truly matter. But many battles are simply distractions. They pull you into cycles of stress and negativity that serve no real purpose. When you cut out toxic individuals, you also cut out the need for constant defense, explanation, and emotional exhaustion. What is left is peace. At first, removing yourself from these situations may feel uncomfortable. You may feel the urge to respond, to defend yourself, or to seek closure. But in time, you will realize that true closure does not come from another person's words, it comes from your own decision to let go. When you stop engaging with drama, you free yourself from the endless weight of unnecessary conflict. You make room for joy, for stillness, and for relationships that uplift rather than drain you. Peace is not given to you, it is something you must claim for yourself. It is the quiet of a morning without stress, the freedom to spend your days as you choose, the deep satisfaction of knowing that your energy is being spent on things that truly matter. The people who belong in your life will respect your peace, the ones who do not will try to disturb it. Your job is to protect it. Choosing peace over drama is not always easy, but it is always worth it. It means deciding that your happiness is not up for debate, that your well-being is not something to be sacrificed, and that your time is too valuable to waste on people who do not appreciate it. It is one of the greatest acts of self-respect in old age. It is one of the most important choices you can make. 6. Living with no regrets. Regret is a heavy burden, one that many carry into old age. It comes in different forms: words left unsaid, opportunities missed, and relationships held on to for too long. Some regrets are unavoidable, a natural part of life's journey. But others, the ones tied to allowing people to mistreat us, staying in toxic relationships out of obligation, or sacrificing our peace for the comfort of others, those are the regrets we can choose to let go of. Living without regret means making the difficult but necessary decisions to protect our well-being, even if it means walking away. Too often, people cling to relationships that no longer serve them because they fear regret. They wonder if cutting someone off is too drastic, if someday they will wish they had given one more chance, or if they will look back and question their decision. But regret does not come from choosing peace, it comes from staying in situations that drain you, from allowing others to diminish your joy, and from spending years giving to those who only take. The true regret is not in walking away, it is in staying too long. There is a great freedom in accepting that not everyone is meant to stay in your life forever. Some people enter our lives as lessons, showing us who we do not want to be, what we do not want to tolerate, and what we deserve instead. When you let go of relationships that bring pain instead of joy, you are not closing the door to love. You are opening the door to self-respect. You are choosing to live on your own terms, free from the weight of unresolved conflicts or unnecessary suffering. Time is precious, and in old age, this truth becomes undeniable. There is no space for resentment, for lingering doubts, or for wondering how things could have been different. There is only the present, the life that remains, and the choice of how to spend it. Do you spend it trying to mend relationships that will never change? Do you fill your days with people who take more than they give? Or do you embrace the freedom of living without the need for approval, guilt, or explanations? Living with no regrets does not mean avoiding all difficult choices. It means making the right ones, the ones that honor your peace, your happiness, and your dignity. It means understanding that walking away is sometimes the bravest thing you can do. It means choosing yourself unapologetically and knowing that the best years of your life are not behind you but ahead of you, free from the burdens that once held you back. 7. Embracing the beauty of solitude. There is a profound difference between being alone and being lonely. Many people spend their lives fearing solitude, mistaking it for isolation or emptiness. But solitude, when embraced with the right mindset, is not a void, it is a sanctuary. It is a space where you are free to exist without expectation, without compromise, and without the weight of relationships that no longer nourish your spirit. In old age, solitude is not something to be feared, it is something to be cherished. For years, life may have revolved around obligations, family, friendships, and responsibilities that demanded constant attention. Perhaps you spent decades giving your time, energy, and care to others, often at the expense of yourself. Now, in this stage of life, solitude offers you something rare, the chance to truly be with yourself, to listen to your own thoughts without interference, and to rediscover what brings you joy when no one else is dictating your choices. Solitude is a teacher. It reveals who you are beyond the roles you have played, beyond being a parent, a spouse, a friend, or a worker. It strips away the noise of external expectations and allows you to focus on what truly matters to you. When you are alone, there is no need to perform, no pressure to meet anyone's demands. There is only the quiet comfort of your own presence. In that stillness, you come to understand yourself in ways that were impossible when life was filled with distractions. Many resist solitude because they believe it is a sign of something missing. They associate it with loneliness, abandonment, or a lack of love. But solitude is not the absence of love, it is the presence of self-love. It is the ability to sit with yourself and feel complete, to find peace in your own company rather than seeking it in people who do not deserve a place in your life. True solitude is not an emptiness to be filled, it is a fullness to be appreciated. Embracing solitude does not mean shutting yourself away from the world. It means choosing how you engage with it. It means spending time with those who truly add to your happiness rather than maintaining relationships out of habit or fear of being alone. It means enjoying the freedom to do what brings you joy. Reading a book in silence, walking through nature at your own pace, savoring a meal without conversation, reflecting on life without interruption. It means recognizing that your own presence is enough. In solitude, there is clarity. The noise of others fades, and you begin to hear the voice inside you, the one that has been drowned out for years by obligation and expectation. That voice reminds you of who you are, what you want, and what you no longer need to carry. It tells you that you are whole, that you are enough, and that you do not need anyone else to complete you. When you embrace the beauty of solitude, you stop looking for fulfillment in the wrong places. You no longer hold on to toxic relationships for the sake of company. You no longer settle for less than you deserve out of fear of being alone. Instead, you walk forward with quiet confidence, knowing that solitude is not loneliness, it is freedom. It is a gift, a privilege, a space where you can truly be yourself. And in that space, you find not only peace but a deep, unshakable sense of contentment. Final thoughts. Choose peace over obligation. There comes a time in life when you must decide what truly matters. In old age, the weight of unnecessary obligations becomes clearer, and the value of peace becomes undeniable. For too long, you may have carried relationships out of duty rather than desire, out of habit rather than happiness. But life is too short to spend its final years entangled in connections that bring more pain than joy. Choosing peace over obligation is not selfish. It is necessary. There is no rule that says you must keep everyone in your life. People grow apart, some relationships lose their meaning, while others become harmful, eroding your well-being in ways you no longer have the energy or patience to endure. Walking away is not an act of cruelty, it is an act of wisdom. It is a statement that you have learned from experience, that you no longer wish to waste time explaining yourself, defending your choices, or tolerating what does not serve you. When you choose peace, you are choosing yourself. You are deciding that your happiness is not something to be sacrificed for the comfort of others. You are accepting that you do not owe anyone your time, your energy, or your presence, especially not those who take you for granted. There is no need for guilt, no need for explanations. Simply stepping away, allowing distance to create space for healing, and letting silence do what words cannot is enough. The greatest lesson of aging is understanding that peace is worth more than approval. It is worth more than keeping up appearances, more than forcing relationships that no longer fit. When you finally let go, when you release the weight of unhealthy connections, the burden of unnecessary conflicts, and the expectation to always be available for those who drain you, you will experience something you may not have felt in years: true freedom. Your time is precious, spend it wisely. Choose relationships that uplift you, moments that fulfill you, and a life that brings you contentment. Let go of what no longer serves you. Step into the quiet, the stillness, and the calm that comes when you finally put yourself first. In that space, free from the demands of obligation, you will find something beautiful, peace, and the life you were always meant to live. These lessons are meant to inspire you to live fully and authentically. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Take a moment to reflect and share one thing you've learned and plan to apply in your own life. Let's support each other on this journey toward embracing these truths. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment with 1. If not, feel free to comment with 0. Your feedback means a lot to us. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more content like this. Thank you for watching, and here's to living life on your own terms.